Hey, Rosanna here, founder of Enjoy Yoga and Rosie Glow, otherwise known as Rosie to many of you. And I wanted to make a video about why it is so important to realign our bones, to realign our structure after we've had a pregnancy and or given birth, and also why it's important to close our bones. Now, a lot of traditional cultures have got closing bone ceremonies of one description or another. And in the days of old, we would all spend 4 to 6 weeks at home being well nourished and looked after each baby that we had. And we'd be massaged and our babies would be massaged and we'd be wrapped and we'd be supported basically to heal emotionally and physically from the impact of growing a baby and also giving birth to one. Now, please bear in mind it actually makes no difference whether you've given birth vaginally or by cesarean section, whether you had an epidural or not. Ultimately, if you can imagine the impact of pregnancy on your bones, I have here my model pelvis. When we are pregnant, our spine, first of all, will get much more accentuated curves than it normally has because the hormone relaxin basically softens all of our muscles, all of our ligaments, all of our connective tissue, and as a result of that, bone structures will also align differently. So depending on our awareness of our posture, for example, if we do have postural habits that aren't so good for us or our babies, then they will actually get worse during pregnancy. But with correct alignment, and this is why coming to our Birth Like Pregnancy yoga classes, Enjoy Yoga or any Birth Like Pregnancy yoga class is so helpful because they are yoga therapy based and they are designed to help you to actually get better shape towards the end of your pregnancy and throughout your pregnancy than you might have been at the start, just by being aware of how you carry yourself, how you sit, how you lie down, how you walk around, how you deal with the extra weight that growing the baby actually leaves you with. However much weight you put on, there is an impact on the thoracic cage, so I want to say in Greek, the thorax. So the thoracic cage is going to open up. You're going to have the front of the pelvis open up as well. So these bones open up. Many of you will actually, well, quite a lot suffer from SPD, which is to do with a nerve, the pudendal nerve in the pubic symphysis at the front. But basically, the top of the pelvis opens, the bottom of the pelvis opens, the pubic arch opens, and the spinal curves increase, and the thoracic spine is going to open up as well. So none of these things are going to close on their own, and they're certainly not going to close well if you go back after your 6 or 8 week check to the gym, to doing any kind of weight bearing exercise, because what you're going to do is you're going to further compound whatever structural misalignments are there as a result of pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, or birth. And we all know what it's like when we've got a baby. However we feed our babies, we tend to stoop, stomp. We have all sorts of weird kind of angles that we feed our babies on. And what happens as a result of that is we get in a worse state than we were before. Now, this is the physical impact, but it's one of those things that women think, oh, 6 months have gone by, or my child is now 2 years or 5 years, there's no point in me doing this now. But what's interesting is every pregnancy we have will exacerbate the issues that are there, so it will just get worse because the body knows how to soften. And so next time you're pregnant, your body will basically just remember much earlier on how it got to the point at the end of the pregnancy. And as a result of that, you'll find that the aches and pains and issues that you had in previous pregnancies come back much sooner unless you've done structural realigning work. And also when the menopause comes, we tend to have in that perimenopausal time the same sorts of symptoms that we have in our pregnancy. So if we had knee problems, or if we had problems with our feet, pain with our feet, cramps, pelvic pain, all of that comes back. So what can we do about this? Well, there's a lot that we can do about it. The first thing is that for a whole month after you've given birth, you don't carry anything heavier than your baby, and that includes the car seat, okay? How the car seats are something that we are encouraged to carry around after we've just given birth is actually really quite impossible for me to say good words about, because the cervix, which is the very bottom of your uterus, is like an elastic band after you've given birth. It's so soft, and if you've heard of a uterine prolapse, that's when the uterus starts to fall through the cervix, and that is going to be much more likely if you are carrying heavy loads. So learning how to move around postnatally, which is very, very different to moving around in pregnancy, is very important, and that will include keeping your legs closer together. It will include learning the reverse breathing that we teach you in our postnatal realignment workshop and also in our mummy and baby nurture classes. It is important to rest as much as possible so that you recover as quickly as possible by not exhausting your adrenal glands, because everyone with a new baby knows that they don't have a sleeping program like we do, and they get up whenever they want and they're hungry whenever they want. We're often up many times in the night. So what's important for us to remember is that it is actually quite simple. It's the simple things that make a difference. It's how you take the time every time you're feeding your baby, every time you're changing your baby, to do a little something for yourself as well. We teach you all of this again in the postnatal realignment workshop and the mummy and baby nurture classes, which we offer through Enjoy Yoga, which are suitable for babies from birth through to 16 weeks. Then we have other classes moving on from there. But more about the realignment workshop is really that we offer 5 closing steps. And the reason that I keep promoting Birthlight is I am a Birthlight tutor. I train midwives and obstetricians and health professionals that actually specialise in pregnancy in these methods. And I also work with parents. I've worked with thousands of parents over the years to support them to both prepare for birth and heal for birth afterwards. I heal the birth afterwards. And what we do is we offer a yoga therapy approach. So these 5 closing steps that we do in our postnatal realignment workshop are designed to close your body again from the birth experience, from the pregnancy experience, to bring you back to yourself. If you imagine your core has been filled by your baby, and once you've given birth, it's important to reclaim that space. So as Francoise says, the breath becomes the polyfiller between the back and the stomach muscles, and we learn to pull everything back in so that you basically strengthen from the inside out. And we work with these 5 steps to close the pelvis, to realign the lower back, so the sacroiliac joint, which is often this bit here, okay, which is often really out of alignment just from our postural habits. We'll then look at bringing back the into a better alignment while still keeping the curves, the whole of the spine, closing the rib cage. That's it, the thoracic diaphragm. I keep saying I'm in grease in my head. So the rib cage, and also allowing also the chest and the shoulders to be where they're meant to be. Every time I look at postnatal women, they have the same issue. They push their hips forward, lock their knees, round their shoulders, jut their head and their chin forward. And this just gets worse. It just gets worse and worse, and it's reversible. It is totally reversible. And then what happens is you use your baby's weight as your free gym membership. So if I have my second child here, my daughter is now 18. But if you learn how to hold your baby close to you and wear these lovely wraparound slings that help to knit your body back together, if you're in good alignment, then this is going to strengthen you from the ground up, and even learning how to stand on your feet again, because so many women present with collapsed arches that come about through postural misalignment in pregnancy. Really, really can do so much about this. We don't need to be going to the doctor, going, I'm in pain, I need physio. It's really about you taking charge of your health and well-being and knowing how to distribute your weight in your body now that you're also carrying a baby on the outside. And what little things you can actually do to realign, to make space, to strengthen, and to heal after birth. Because if you close the body, you also support the emotions and the psychological impact of birth to calm down, and you get to have a real sense of how much the birth has affected you. Some women really do need to do some post-birth trauma release work with their babies and with themselves, and I specialise in that, but that is something I do privately. What I do at the moment is I run the postnatal realignment workshops through Enjoy as an opportunity for you to be able to come and meet me, to see what you can do for yourselves, to find out more about our classes, and to do this super important work, which is to close yourself back up after each pregnancy. This will have such an impact on your well-being, on your sense of confidence, your trust in yourself as a mother, and reclaiming that space, that creative space that you gave to your baby to grow in as your own, so that your fertile energy becomes your creative energy and your sexual energy charges you up again. And I talk more about that in my Womb Wisdom workshop. So I hope you found this intriguing enough and it's poignant enough to understand that every woman benefits from this. So ideally, you're going to come within the 9 months after you've given birth, but bear in mind, If you're breastfeeding, it takes another 6 months for the postnatal breastfeeding hormones to leave your body after you have fully stopped feeding. If you're still feeding, then there is prolactin in your body, and that will keep you soft, so you can actually come later on. But even if you come and you stopped breastfeeding years ago, it is better to come than not to come. And I invite you to bring your mum, not so that she can hold the baby, but that she can also benefit from realigning her body, because many of her aches and pains will go away as a result of doing this postnatal realignment workshop. It does also really have an effect on our psychology, as I said, and our emotional well-being. So it's a win-win-win. Check out the Enjoy Yoga website for when we run them. I tend to run them every 3 months. They're a 3-hour workshop and really give you a taste of therapeutic alignment and how to be in your body. And those are skills for life. No one can take that away from you. It will also really support you to conceive naturally next time you want to have a baby, because you've realigned the uterus, you've realigned the pelvic floor muscles, you've realigned the deepest back and stomach muscles as well, so that you strengthen your core from the inside out rather than the outside in. I cannot tell you how many women I have seen who've gone back to, working with a personal trainer 6 to 8 weeks after they've given birth, desperate to get their stomach muscles back, and all they've done is try to strengthen from the outside in, and this has left them with a baby pouch that never goes away. Also, so many women end up with a split rectus abdominis as a result of doing too much exercise, or too high impact exercise, or too strong yoga in pregnancy. And postnatally, that doesn't heal up unless you work with it and you create the space and also the closing opportunities, which is what we offer you. I am hugely indebted to Birthlight and to my teacher, Dr. Francoise Friedman. I spent many years working under her wing and learning all the little intricate details that she teaches as a specialist in prenatal and postnatal anatomy and physiology. And you really do, you will benefit so much from coming along and learning more about that. So I hope I've got you excited and you'll come along. In terms of whether to bring your baby or not, ideally you come on your own. I'm never about separating mums and babies, but the thing is, whilst your baby's there, you focus on your baby. So usually, even with newborns, after a few weeks, a few months, we can actually manage to leave them for 3 hours, or at least for 2 of the 3. And if you want to bring someone along with you who is happy to have your baby whilst you actually do the closing ceremony, if you like, or the closing ritual, the 5 steps, which is what it's really about, they can always go for a walk or visit a friend or go to a cafe, and if they do need to come back, then they can, and that's fine. The more time you have to focus on yourself, the better. So I hope that kind of makes it clear. But if you are really only going to be able to come as a result of bringing your baby, then come with your baby. If you can bring someone to hold your baby and actually be with them, that's great. Otherwise, I tend to be moving around 2 or 3 babies at a time. But we always make it work, and there's so much more that comes from this. I really hope that you'll take the opportunity to come. Any questions, please drop us a line at Enjoy Yoga or give us a call. Lots of love, and I hope to see you at the next one. Take care.